Hi, welcome to Stahls TV. This edition of Stahls TV today is talking about production efficiency, how to set up your shop so it is more efficient. We're going to be looking at a few different things, how to lay out your shop, what type of tools we can use to pick up production efficiencies, what equipment would be best suited for your production to get things done faster, more efficiently. I've said this earlier, but apparently to a mute mic, but I have spent a good bit of my time here with Stahls as a production manager, and I was judged on how I got our employees to be as efficient as possible. And a lot of that has to do with just streamlining processes and having the right tools in place and just laying things out properly. Some of it just seems like no-brainers, and I'm sure that a lot of these things will be like, yeah, who didn't think of that? But it's something to look at and make sure that you just don't overlook some very obvious things in your production. Before we go too far, I know you took one poll question. We have a couple poll questions that I would like you all to answer so that we know you a little bit better. So I'm going to give you the opportunity for Karen to give you those poll questions now.
We just launched How Long Have You Been in Business? And it looks like 54% have been in business for over 5 years, 13% have been in business 3 to 5 years, 21% 1 to 2 years, and 13% are just getting started. And we'll move on to what decorating methods do you offer? 52% do screen printing, 57% embroidery, 86% for CAD cut heat transfer film, 43% sublimation, 57% print and cut. And last question, do you own a vinyl cutter? 81% of your viewers own a vinyl cutter and 19% do not.
Okay, thank you for taking the time to do that. I kind of understand where we are now. We've got a nice mixture of folks about how experienced or how long you've been in business, everything from seasoned veterans to been around a while to just getting started, and that's great. And even those of us who have been doing this for a long time can overlook some very obvious things like, wow, why didn't I think of that? So we're going to take a look. I'm going to ask Karen to switch me over to my computer so that under presenter so you can actually see my screen. And I have developed this this chart, and this is kind of a layout, a diagram. Now, this is not, this is not written in stone by any means. Your space may vary where you're at. It's a basic principle. You really want to, and I've got this set up in kind of a modular type of pod type of layout, and this is for 1, maybe to 2. Possibly 3 people, but I think it might get a little crowded in here with 3 people going on, unless it's like, let's get something done. Whether there's walls all the way around the outside or whether they're totally wide open, that's to be determined. This is one way, and it's not the end-all to be-all, but is one way that I have found that makes sense to set up a production facility, including the cutter or printer cutter, depending on what you have, and also the heat press and how your flow would go. So the little red guy that you see down here, I had a little stick figure, but I thought I'd get laughed at, so I didn't put him in there. But it's going to represent you. You are here. So right now, we're at the computer. Everything starts right at the computer when you're starting to create your designs. I'm assuming that we're looking at making your own vinyl designs or whether you're doing your print and cut designs. So it all starts with the artwork. So we start here at the computer. And obviously that connects to either the cutter or the printer cutter. So once this design is sent to here, it's printing and cutting. Hopefully at this time, the guy who did all of that is either going to go back and create some more artwork and get those files set up, ready to go. Or if you're a one-man show, you're probably processing designs that have been created previously. Once you go from the printer cutter, once the designs are done, we've got 2 options as you look at this. And notice I have 2 big tables here. You can't have enough flat spaces. You cannot have enough tabletop type of spaces. The one that I recommend on this side over here, move my little red guy over here on the right side, I would like this to be like tabletop height, just like the computer is. The person working this side, he's on a wheelie chair. He's on a surface that moves around back and forth because hopefully you're sliding back and forth from the computer to the cutter over to possibly the weeding table. Maybe the same person's doing the weeding. Once the weeding is done, then we're taking it over to the staging table on the opposite side. And here, this could either be weeding and or staging, depending on which way you go. It could be a perfect U type of flow where you come around from right to left, counterclockwise. Notice the anti-fatigue mat for the person who's going to be standing. This is going to be a higher table. This is going to be one where you don't have to bend over so much. If I'm doing any, if I'm going to be standing while I'm weeding, or if I'm prepping, I'm staging the garments, counting things out, leaning over ends up creating fatigue, and that slows people down as they're just not happy, not comfortable. So the whole idea is to maintain being comfortable. Notice in the corner, though, there's a big trash can right in here. Can't have enough trash cans. This is a big trash can to take care of anything. If I'm weeding on this side, notice there's trash next to this weeding table. Notice there's trash can over by the heat press. There's always something to discard. The point is, I've watched in production people taking 2 or 3 steps to go to the trash can after every application. And when you add that up, every time they do a heat press or every time they weed a design, there's extra steps. Those cost money. Time is money. So we're trying to keep everything at your fingertips as much as possible. Also notice that on the, let's get rid of that. Also notice that on the on this table over here where it says weeding and staging, this, if you're doing print and cut, this is definitely where I would do my masking. Notice the cute little roll here and a roll cutter. So this, hopefully this roll is on a dispenser. You're pulling out your mask to length and doing a little slice here. Just the time of winding out, handling a roll, using scissors to cut things up individually. Again, time savers, efficiency. We're trying to pick up efficiency as much as possible. Nobody's working hard, we're working smart. Anti-fatigue mat, of course, on the standing areas. Notice that it encompasses the heat press as well. We're going to talk about all these other things. You know, we're going to get into the heat press and all the tools and tricks and things that can help us out as we go. But I just want to point out that the heat press is going to be your key feature here, which is what we're doing our applications with. Now notice also you see a cart, 2 carts. I am a big fan of wheeled carts. Something that I can finish my finished product when it leaves the heat press. It's stacked up on this nice cart laying flat. If I'm gang folding them in 12s, every time I hit 12, I'll go ahead and gang fold in advance, move them over. Once I've got the whole job done, I'll move it over to the packing table, which is on the opposite side over here. I have to be careful. I'm talking with my hands and you can't see me. But over on this side is where the packing would take place. While we're over there, notice that I've got these cute little rolls up here. Your roll storage can go here. If this is a vertical wall, that can go over top of the area where you're laying out the designs. This is where your designer picks the type of material, gets it prepped, ready to go into the cutter. So maybe they're staging jobs before it's time to go there. Lay out the material on top of the with the file so that we're knowing what we're cutting at that point. Or if it's print and cut, of course, we're obviously just using a white material. I've been talking nonstop. I forgot to mention to you that I'd love to hear your questions. So if you have an opportunity, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in, and we'll do our best. If they apply to the class, we'll answer them here on air. If not, we'll get back to them later after the class is over. So feel free to do that anytime, and Karen will let me know when you've got one so we can deal with those specifically. Or if you've got maybe I don't know everything, even though I'd like to think I do, but you can throw out your 2 cents as well. Give us an idea of maybe something that you've thought of in relation to what we're talking about that makes sense, something you're doing currently that I didn't put into this situation. So this is just one design. It's modular, U-shaped type of cellular production. Now, and it's designed for 1 to 2 people. Like I said, I like this guy on this side to be on a chair where he's sliding back and forth to his cutter, to his computer. If he's doing weeding, being comfortable, sitting down when you're weeding is fine. If you're weeding on this side, then I like that to be up to where I don't have to bend over. You're going to find that in a lot of cases with all the equipment that we look at, having everything at a comfortable height is a real big deal. And lastly, enough trash cans to facilitate you so you're not taking extra steps. Making sure there's a trash can near every place where you're going to have some refuse so you don't have to walk around looking for it. One other thing, or a couple other things that I like, I guess we can leave that up while we talk. You don't need to see me right now. But a couple of the things that, in this case, if you're doing pre-cut numbers and letters, that type of thing, that can be stored under any one of these tables. Create some shelves, create some racks so that they are easily accessed and easily labeled, or there are shelves up above. There may be a vertical wall over on the left side over here by the weeding and staging table. You can actually have additional storage over there. Maybe it's under the table, plenty of space there. Do not waste that. Notice this is in a 10 by 12 area. And that gave us plenty of room to get this done, even as wide as a 30-inch printer cutter in this area. A 54-inch would probably change if I had a 54-inch printer cutter in this area. It would probably change a lot of things because my tables would be larger, because more than likely you bought a 54 for a reason, because you're going to be doing some wide format graphics, banners, etc. You're going to need a much larger workspace to work on. But for the typical heat applied apparel decorator and some occasional decal type of person, this space should work nicely for you. Also, one thing that I have found to be very helpful for people who are, my production employees, they wear little nail aprons, just simple little cloth aprons that you would get at the hardware store or at the lumber supply store, where you keep your nails and things like that. That's to keep your tools. All the things that you have to have in front of you at all times. Of course, we did a lot of embroidery, so they kept their snips, they kept their oilers, they kept extra bobbins. They had everything that they needed right at their fingertips, just like a construction worker would have his nail apron, his tool belt. We keep our tools with us, so we're not always looking for them. Plus, as you know, you can have 30 weeders and not find one of them in your 10 by 12 space. They just seem to disappear. So keeping one with you at all times is huge. Again, another production efficiency tip to keep you working and not searching. I'm going to go ahead and switch us back over to, so you can actually see me, because I know you're dying to see me. Thanks. Good to see you back. This is the layout. If there are any questions or any comments on that, feel free to throw them out there. I'm going to move now to some of the tools. Now, as you see in this case, there's only one single heat press in that layout that you probably have memorized by now. Again, this could modify any different way. If we had open space, I would put a bank of heat presses on the opposite side. This one cell here of production could actually facilitate many heat presses if we choose to. Maybe you're just using heat transfer, just regular screen print transfers. That's fine. A lot of this stuff would go away, so we can modify that space. But it's just all about making sure that I minimize the number of steps that I'm taking to get from one point to the other. But looking at the heat press, so we're talking about efficiencies. So efficiency to me is something that I don't have to, that lets me multitask. So I'm going to walk over to the auto open clam, just real briefly. I'm going to have Karen follow me. Auto open clam is just that. The whole point of using the auto open clam is that it opens by itself. How is that a production efficiency thing? Oh, someone's document. Well, I could be multitasking. If I've got a 10 to 15 second dwell time when I lock this down, of course you have to have some pressure on it if you want to watch it pop up. Once I lock it down and it counts down, I can be, before it even counts down, I'm busy elsewhere. I'm prepping another shirt. I'm getting another design ready. Maybe I'm folding, I'm bagging, tagging, whatever I'm required to do at this point, knowing that I don't have to be close by. A lot of us are single person shops, or we have to answer the phone, take orders, and order product as well as do the production. So I'm now able to also do those other things as needed be. Obviously, my production, I like to stay focused on what I'm doing, but there's times we have to step away. So having an auto-open type of press is a real big production help, making it more efficient. One other thing, too, is you'll notice that this is on a caddy. This is on a stand. This is the freestanding pedestal caddy. And one, it's adjustable in height. Again, less fatigue. You want being able to set this at the proper height. This is set up very nicely for me because I can still reach this handle very comfortably. In fact, I would probably take it up even just maybe a notch even higher. I don't have to reach hard for that. It's not cumbersome to reach that. I would probably knock it up a little bit higher. And what that does for me, it keeps me from having to do that crouch and reach type of thing in here. Anything to slow you down. I want to make things go as quickly as possible. So auto open clam on a caddy, a great production efficiency addition. That same clam also allows that caddy also allows a standard clam press to be threadable. Again, another production efficiency. When I thread, I don't have a jersey right here right now, but when I thread a jersey on here, I can actually slide it on when I'm going to do the front and back, spin it, and then do the back side. Again, just another little bit. So that's no big. You're talking about seconds. Well, how many jerseys are you going to do in the course of a day? If you've got a 200-piece job, add 2 to 3 seconds, 5 seconds onto every side or front, or back or front, you're going to pick up some time. Time is money. Sliding over to the air fusion on the opposite side. This one not only gives you the same type of threadability because it's already built on the same type of stand, but it also eliminates fatigue because I'm hardly working at all. I don't have this one plugged in, nor will I right now because I've got my air assigned to the next press, which we'll show you next. But two presses of the button, presses of two buttons at the same time drops this down. That's the extent of my exertion of energy here, and then stepping on a pedal on the floor here to bring it back. So here I get the same benefit. I get the same adjustable height. I have the same flexibility as far as threadability, and I also have next to no fatigue at all because I'm hardly working here at all. Now it does require an air compressor, and we do have a small air compressor hooked up here with this one. If you have house air, then that's a great way to go as well. Kind of keeps the noise down for a second, but as you notice, it hasn't run yet here, but I'm sure it'll kick on eventually, and you'll be hearing it a little bit later. So auto open in the clam, more affordable option. The next step up, of course, in auto open is going to be the air fusion. That's going to give me not only the ability to have next to no effort put into pressing, but it also swings out of the way, so there's no chance of any heat in my face. Makes things more comfortable, makes my job a little more comfortable, and I like my job better when I'm not uncomfortable. Therefore, I'm going to work better and happier, or happier and better. Keeping your employees or your production associates happy is huge. Also, what we have set up here, and I'll go ahead and show it while we're here, another thing that could really pick up efficiency, something to make your production more efficient. I'm sure you've seen this. If you haven't, I don't know if you're going to be able to see those very well because our bright lit studios. Maybe you can swing over to show what we've got here, which is the laser alignment system. Laser alignment system, as you see here, has 4 separate lines that will display itself onto the heat press. Now, what does that do for me? Well, I'm putting my shirt on as I always do, but when I've got one person, maybe the supervisor or the team leader, or all those people, you get one exactly the way you want it. You love it there. Zero in your line so that your transfer goes exactly in the same place every time. Now I stop. And what this does is keeps me from measuring every design. I'm not putting my hand down from the top. Is that 3 inches? Am I using 3 fingers to 4 fingers? Do I need to measure 2.5, 3, 4 inches with a ruler? Is it centered? Do I keep measuring the left side versus the right side? Putting it exactly the way it should be one time and duplicating those efforts is huge. Again, another pickup of efficiency, making my production more streamlined. Now, if I'm doing individual orders, 1, 2 at a time, I'm not going to set this up to do 1 or 2. But this is when I'm doing repeatability. I'm doing the same job. I've got 50 of the same design in the same place. I'm going to definitely set this up. It's going to pick up a lot of time for me. You can actually waste a little time setting it up for just 1 or 2. By the time you set it up, you could have pressed it. We'll bring that one back. And then the mother of all heat presses is the dual air fusion, if you're talking about getting streamlining your production. Dual air fusion is just that. It has 2 separate platens, 2 separate lower platens, and one heating element. So when I'm going to press this one down, same principle, I lock it down. And I have some options now. Now that was only a 2-second dwell time. Let's do it at 15. While this is pressing, I'm actually sliding over here and actually loading this shirt on and getting the design where I want it to be, getting it laid out, ready to go. I have options at this point, and this is what I love about this press. I have it set up now that when it pops up, for just to stay there. And when I'm ready, I'll call it over by pressing this foot pedal, and it'll slide over so I can press this one. Now that was a 15-second dwell time. Hopefully I had enough time to get my design done, but I called it over because I was in control. Those of you who are control freaks, you're going to love that feature. Me as a production manager, I would like to go in and say, here's how long it should take you to load this shirt on this side. When you load it on this side, and by the time you get your designs done, and one thing we're actually it's going to help us increase efficiency is we've got the same laser alignment system on both sides. So we've already set these up, so it really shouldn't take very long to place that transfer down. Putting the shirt on properly, getting it straightened out, putting the design down, even if it's say a 10-second application, what I can do is I can go into here and set it as an auto. So when I press this down, it pops up and comes over here. Well, this 3-second dwell time, that's going to be too quick for me. I can also set this up to be to have a say a 5, maybe a 6, 8, 10-second delay, so that once when I'm pressing this side, and I know it's going to take me a total of 10 seconds on this side to get this shirt on a design where I want it very comfortably, I can set this thing on a 4-second application, put a 5 or 6-second delay on here, and it will come over automatically. Let's just go ahead and do that. And I just simply go into the settings, and I go to the platen setup, and it comes up shuttle delay. I do plus or minus, so we can add 5 seconds to that. I'm really fast, and I hit save. I am a skilled employee. I've done this more times than I like to think. So when I'm pressing this one down, this says 15 now. We'll play pretend. It's gonna press for 15 seconds. Let's say it's a very intricate, multiple designs I'm pressing over here. I have plenty of time to place this shirt on, put the design on, and then when it pops up, and I know that 5, 10, whatever it is was not enough. You notice it's not moving right now, but after the 5-second delay, it comes over automatically. What that does, as for me, as a production supervisor, is it's telling my employee that this is how long it should take to get this done. So if you're not getting it done this fast, you're slacking. Basically, step up your game. It's plenty of time. I've tried it. It's nothing being unreasonable here, but just gives a sense of urgency. It's time to get this thing going. I got to slide this on because it's going to come over. Now, if it comes over, is it going to hurt me? Not at all. You can stop it. You can put this when it comes over. I can hit it with my hand. It's not going to hurt me. I can stop it from moving, whatever the case may be. But it does set up a sense of urgency. Let's get something done today. We have a lot of production that needs to be done. Do we have any questions? No questions. Okay, good. All right, moving on. I'm going to slide back behind. I say we covered the 3 presses. We covered the layout. There's a lot of tools that we could be looking at that's available for us in the within the heat press world, and one of them is platens. Notice that if you don't notice, but every heat press that was here has interchangeable lower platens. How does that save you time? Well, trying to do a bag like, this is a very basic example, just grab this just before airtime, but we want to press something like this. There's a lot of stuff in the way, and so we're trying to get inside this pocket here and slide that on. Well, I could do it a lot of different ways. Try to slide it on, add a pillow in here. There's a lot, or a pad inside. This can be time consuming. 50 of these to do. I would much rather have like a 6x10 platen loaded on the press. That's loaded on the press. The bag slides over top of it, and we're ready to go. Or if it's a 8x10, maybe in this case, looks like maybe an 8x10 would work better. Press is here. This slides over. It slides directly on it. I've raised up just my image area. All this fluffy stuff that's in the way is going to be a problem. This is going to pick up efficiencies just by having the exact right platen at the right time for the right design. Some of these sound like, yeah, I know about platens. They're basic stuff, but we tend to work harder instead of smarter at times. Let's go over the platens. Take a look at each one. See what we've got available to us. Since we've got them out here, 6x10. 6x10 platen, typically called a bag platen. It works for a lot of the different types of bags out there. As you know, zippers and buckles and all types of seams and all the straps and things can get in the way. This is going to be a nice. Now, your design has to fit within a 6x10 area. Most cases, this one works very well. Bigger design, same principle, an 8x10. 8x10 is a nice step up for those bigger designs. Sometimes it's a full bag, like a sling bag or something. Actually, the entire bag would slide over it, not sliding inside of a pocket. Or this is nice when we're looking at youth or toddlers or that type of jersey where we get something a little bit smaller that we need to thread onto. So 6x10, 8x10. One of the most popular. It's tough to say these days because they're all getting popular. The 11x15. That's a nice addition. Most people who purchase a heat press eventually will end up getting 11x15. That's going to be perfect for your ladies, for your youth, anything that's a little bit, and of course in certain bags and things like that. Or just what I also like it for, it's perfect for a hoodie. When I'm doing that, I've got the pouch below and I'm trying to do the full front here. These will turn portrait or landscape. So in this case, I would turn it landscape like this on the press, slide my jersey on. The pouch comes down here. I've got this full 11 by 15 area to do a full front design on that. So huge. You'll also notice there's a quick slip pad protector on this. Talk about that in a little while as we get into some of the accessories. One that has been really well received here recently, and I say recently, in the last couple of years. When you're as old as me, everything seems, in the last 10 years is recent. But a 6x20 leg and sleeve platen. All these times we've been trying to do these legs, and it's been awkward trying to, because yeah, you can lay it on there, but you want it in a certain place, but you have to get away from the seam. So I really want it to go down the front or on the side. That seam's in the way. Now we can slide it on using the 6x20. 6x20 works best on the fusion type of presses, whether it be the air fusion, the dual air fusion, or the standard fusion. The reason I say that is it has got the better chance of giving you the full threadability. The footprint of a standard clam on the caddy has a wider footprint there, so some of that can be a little bit of a deterrent for getting on top of that. Also, and I don't have all of them by any means, there's still additional ones. 7-inch round. Probably the least used, not used as much as it used to be. It was designed originally for the end of a roll bag, a gym type of bag or an athletic bag that was kind of a circular in nature, so you get the end, get the maximum circular design over there. I have found plenty of uses for it in the past, though, for if that weird place or nothing else will fit. Sometimes this one works out well. And then we get into special items like shoe platens. If you haven't seen a shoe platen, this shoe will actually just slide onto the side of this. You can actually decorate the side or personalize the side of an athletic cleat like soccer or something like that, put their number on it on either side, or sometimes on the heel as well. There are a lot more platens, and also something to consider is if you've got a big job and there seems like there's no way that anything that we have here works out, rather than trying to make something yourself, we do offer a service. We can customize a platen for you. We can custom make any size or shape, help you work it out to make sure that we're being as efficient as possible as getting multiple images on. We've got one we call a glove platen with fingers out like this, that we can put on like 6 to 8 different gloves and do the back side of those gloves. Anything that works for you, we can try to work that out for you, customize them specifically. Again, picking up efficiency for you. Alrighty, that pretty much covers the platens. Lastly, I want to look at accessories. Now, there are a lot of different accessories we have on our website. Someplace in there, the top 7 accessories and what they're used for. I'm going to go start bringing out my little bag of tricks and see what's first. Very first one that I have, if you are using if you're not cutting your own and you're using numbers and letters pre-cut, and this is not a bad idea, it really isn't, especially on the numbers end of it. It's much more cost effective when we, per piece, when we cut them for you and send them to you, die cut packs of 10, 8-inch varsity, white, black, keep those in stock. You're going to use them this spring coming up. Actually, you're just about there now. Should be time to be thinking about that. But having a storage box to keep these in place. As you can see, it says 3-inch varsity white thermofilm. And these are obviously letters. A place for every letter in the alphabet. And you can keep them neatly stored so you're not ganged together. You end up with this whole mishmash of all types of things. So keeping things organized is a production saver as well. The time spent looking for all of these different items can be tremendous. I'm going to get rid of this because you won't need this anymore. I'm going to bring out something that is related to that. And this is our layout guide. The Stahls layout guide. Looks like this. If you haven't seen it, this is actually, it's laminated nicely, so it can be used over and over and over. And it also has you peel off the back, and this is actually tacky. I can actually place this on my layout table if I am laying out individual letters. I don't have a cutter, but these guys just want their names. I'm using these letters. There are different arches and arcs and circles and layouts, so you can start from centered out and get them evenly spaced. Once you have your letters laid out exactly the way you want your name to look on that arc or arch, then there are transfer strips that comes with the packet, and you can reorder those as well. Another time saver. I've seen a lot of people just laying these out on the jersey one at a time, looking at it, cockeyed, does this look right? can't see it, can't tell. Yeah, you could use your laser alignment system over there, but laying them out here in advance and then having them pre-spaced while I pick them up and lay them on the shirt is a big time saver. So that is something to look at too, to pick up some, again, some more efficiency for you. Go ahead and put this away before I make a mess. Make alphabet soup out of everything. Push this off to the side. We talked about a quick slip pad protector. Having a quick slip pad protector, one of our top selling accessories. This will cover the lower platen of your machine. That lower platen without one of these is made of a virgin silicone rubber. It can deteriorate over the years and years of use with the high heat and the abrasion against the edges. It's protecting those edges from rounding off and keeping everything nice and firm. But also, and probably most noticeable for you, is it allows the garment to slide very easily. If I'm threading the shirt on, opening up and sliding it over, it slides so much nicer. Even if I'm just laying it on top, God forbid we don't take advantage of the threadability of the machine, you're just laying it on top, you like to look at it in the positive, repositioning it to get it straight is huge. I can just slide it around with one hand. Otherwise, I have to keep picking it up and laying it down, picking it up, get it straight. It takes a lot more time. Having one of these makes it easy to adjust the shirt, and it's also protecting the lower pad of that heat press. Got to have one of these. You buy a press, just get one. Don't even think about it. Cover sheets. 3 different types. One of the most commonly used and what people recognize is the 6mm reusable cover sheet. That's a non-stick, reusable, wipeable cover sheet. Why do you use a cover sheet in the first place, and how is this even a time saver? Well, if you've ever pressed something upside down, or somebody had something that got something on the heat press, you didn't realize it, and you press it and you ruin a shirt, the time spent reclaiming that or cleaning off that press is a big deal. This is actually going to do 2 things. It's protecting your upper platen so that anything that may be on there that you're not realizing, some adhesive or something there could be, could be a deterrent to production. You lay this on as a barrier between that and the upper platen. It's also helping to protect your garment. Same case applies. Someone had pressed something upside down. There's a stain. Somebody did sublimation. There's dye. There's ink on the platen. You can't see it. It gets black. You press it. You say, where did that come from? This is going to give you a barrier, so nothing that could have been stuck on top of that heat press is in the way. It's going to give you that barrier. Now, this is that non-stick type of reusable sheet, 6mm. Another one that is very commonly used. It comes in a 12-pack. It's called, I'm sorry, a 25-pack, and it's a craft sheet. It's a siliconized paper. Now, the difference, they do exactly the same job. This one eventually will get tossed as it gets a little bit ratty because it is actually paper. This one, if I take care of it very, very well, keep it flat, it could last, I won't say indefinitely, but a lot longer than the others. The difference here, though, is that if my design, especially when print and cut and some of the other materials, if my material will take on a sheen or not, then this one, the reusable sheet, can tend to gloss it up a little bit. Give it more of a semi-gloss type of, you can get a little bit of a sheen there. This one will knock it down. This will knock the sheen down if it's acceptable. It will knock it down to at least a nice satin sheen, if not a total matte finish. So both work very well. Now it depends on my preference. A lot of people, I'm leaning more towards this way because it's a little sturdier. It's a little bit easier to manage. This one's a little flimsier. When I hold this, I can hold this out straight. This one's falling down. So it just makes it a little bit easier to manage. Although, long term, this may be more cost effective because as long as you take care of it, it's gonna hold up nicely for you. Also, the last one, and this is one we're going to throw an asterisk on. Now, this is a flexible application pad. It's made of a stretchable. Stretchable doesn't really matter as much as that it is that same silicone rubber, and it's kind of textured. And what this is used for your non-wearables. I stress non-wearables because you have to be careful because you can actually run into some situations where you might not get the exact application you're looking for as it goes through the laundry. So if you're going through bags, things I want to protect, this is a great thing to help protect something pre-printed onto a jacket. You say, ooh, that might burn. It's going to help diffuse that heat. It's also good for getting rid of some of the heat press marks if something's very delicate. If I'm going on to, say, a leather binder, I know that when I put direct heat on there, especially with that hot steel or hot aluminum, whatever that is, on top of the that leather binder, I can tend to dry it out. I can get a little bit of a scorch. All this is going to do is help diffuse that heat. It's going to diffuse it out so that it's not getting direct heat and it's kind of soften that heat. The trick to it, though, is to make sure you add time. If you have a 10-second dwell, I would add another 10 seconds. So what I'm actually pressing it for a full 20. It's going to take at least 10 seconds for that heat to get through this, so I'm actually getting the right heat application to my design. So these are great. They'll work for where it works best, but always test, wash test. Your name's on the line, not mine. So make sure that it's going to do a good job for you if you choose to do it on non-wearables. But definitely works well for wearables, but it works definitely for non-wearables for sure. I think that was enough disclaimers on that. In the same vein, sometimes something just isn't threadable. Sometimes we've got to do, you've got a placket on a shirt, you've got buttons, you've got pockets. There's things that are just going to give you some issues as far as too much, something in the way of giving you even pressure. That's where a Teflon pillow would come in. If I can't thread it and just raise up just that image area, then this would make sense. I would be able to slide this inside the shirt, and all these buttons here and this pocket and all these things would actually sink down into that, so now that I've got an even surface. It's not my favorite because I'm kind of guessing at the pressure. I don't know if I'm getting a firm pressure or not, because it's actually the air is going to escape out of that foam pad that's inside of this. But it's an option. It's an option for you. And a lot of people will do it, and it works. It's been around for a while, and it is efficient. You just want to make sure that, again, you pick at, you make sure that you got a good application when using one of these. This is one of the questions that I ask folks when they have, something's failing. What did you use? Okay, did you use a pillow? Did you use a Print Perfect pad? Which actually I didn't come with a Print Perfect pad. I'm not sure how I missed that. But a Print Perfect pad would do the similar job. That is nothing more than the rubber pad that comes on each one of these platens, sold separately. And that's where, if I'm going to do the left chest of a shirt like this, and I didn't have a pillow or didn't care to use a pillow, I would lay that Print Perfect pad onto a smaller one, to just the size of the image area here, and then thread that shirt over so I'm raising up just this left chest area, or wherever you're looking to add, inside that bag, raising up the image area so I'm getting a good firm pressure, utilizing that 3/8 silicone pad. Lastly, this is absolutely great. I will explain this one, what's coming up. But first of all, thermotape, a heat-resistant tape for when you've got that transfer on, you want exactly where it goes, and it's not a sticky carrier like your CAD cut material is, and it's very intricate. It's a line right across the pocket, and it has to stay perfectly even. That's when I use a simple, I tape the image on with the tape. Keep this right next to your heat press, applying it to it where it applies. Have the tape dispenser. It doesn't cost that much. Cutting them up and sticking them on the side like you're wrapping Christmas presents just doesn't cut it. You'll make yourself crazy. A tape dispenser and a thermal tape, allowing you to tape your designs down, does not mark the fabric, and so it keeps your design in place. Another one of our best sellers. And then one I was going to talk about, and I said already before, is a weeding tool. You can't have too many weeding tools, because as soon as you set one down, it disappears. And I will attest to that now, because I had one sitting here and someone took it already. My weeding tool's gone. Here comes my lovely assistant to show what they look like. The Stahls Easy Weeder that it was sitting here. But again, these are invaluable. They're not expensive, but it's the best tool you'll ever own. So keep multiples of these. Keep them on your person. Keep them in your little pouch, because they do disappear. I thought that was actually cute that someone took my weeder. And you'll say that more times than not. Who took my weeder? What else do we have? Lastly, the heat eraser. Heat eraser is nothing more. It doesn't, again, people say, what is a heat eraser? It's not going to take off vinyl that you pressed wrong. It's just to take the heat out of something that needs to cool before you peel it. It's just another way. The same thing will apply by using the hem of a shirt, wiping it down. There's a lot of different ways to take heat out, but it's a handy little device to have next to you. It's nothing more than a felt eraser, like you would use on a chalkboard, to take the heat out of the fabric. You're a quiet group. I usually, you have a question? Praise the Lord, we have a question. What do you got?
Question. If somebody wanted to make their own platen, would they be able to purchase just the base piece that connects to the heat press?
can you buy just the base piece that connects to the heat press? Not sure why you would want that, you mean as opposed to having the rubber pad on top of it. You can, if it's something that you need and you want to do that, absolutely. You can just say, give us this and with no pad, and we can do it. Or we can ship them loose and you can apply them wherever you want with some high temperature silicone adhesive. And sure, that's all doable. But we do offer that. I mean, we do that more times than you realize, how many people actually get customized platens designed just for whatever their need is. And it's usually a very good investment. If you've got a big job and they all have to go out on time, all the fumbling that you can do otherwise using the other tools really falls short of a custom platen to do the specific job for you. If you have no other questions, I have hopefully that we've kind of been all over the board, but so is your production. It's a lot of these are tips and tricks that hopefully that will you can utilize to pick up production's efficiencies, make your job go smoother, and to make you more money. I thank you for your time. Please tune in again to Stahls TV. I think there's another one tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I apologize for that one. But there's definitely look at your TV guide and you'll see what's coming up. Thank you for your time. See you again.